JB here. Hope I was doing outstanding. Friday, October 4th, 2024, 9 o'clock here on this jobs report. Friday. Wow. And what a doozy. I always use the term sweet molasses in the chat room. Just a crazy beat. So 254,000, 257, no, 254 versus 147K estimate. The unemployment rate dropped to 4.1 from 4.2. And wow, just impressive. I was actually hoping for more of an inline number so the market could find some footing. I was actually nervous, and I mean, who knows what happens after the open, that we'd have some kind of reversal because a stronger jobs report probably scales back the possibility that the Fed will do at least a jumbo rate cut, another jumbo 0.5% cut in November, and probably scale back the pace of the cut. So if you're like the market to be dovish, that's definitely not the data that would set up for a dovish tone for the rest of the year. But I think there's the backdrop too that you have people that are concerned we possibly might be headed towards a recession, and this probably puts a nix on that argument narrative for at least the coming months, or at least into the holiday season. It's funny, you look back and it was only what in August where we had that huge benchmark revision to the jobs report where they took the entire yearly data for the jobs and cut it backward, revised them 880,000 jobs, and here we are 100,000 jobs over estimates, and the market's going bonkers. So it's funny. It's pick and choose your battles, your narratives and stories. And if you had told me that it would be such a huge number yesterday into today, I would have told you, I would have thought that maybe the future would sell off on the news because we're somewhat in an environment now. I guess sometimes good news is bad news for the market. Back in the day, good news was good. Bad news was good news for the market. So we're still trying to figure that out. Anyway, good stuff. Markets are ramping higher. Looks like the S&P might erase its weekly loss right now at the open, and we could end this week in the green heading into earnings season next week. So that's the next big catalyst. We have earnings next week: JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citigroup. I think they're all Friday. That'll kick it off. Then Netflix the following week. But you take a look at some areas in the SPY. I was talking about it last Friday, 570. Monday, 568. It hit and bounced. Then we were at 566 on Tuesday. And then Wednesday and Thursday, we came down to 565 and change, almost the same areas, and bounced. So those are key support areas. I just want to see him hit a couple more times before I put the trend lines into chart. But we'll see how today plays out. And then you start looking, are we going to hit all-time highs today? Are we going to reverse? At some point, there'll be some pull. But if we do pull, hopefully it's not substantial. There's no piling in to take profits, and we don't have some crazy reversal. That's my fear. I've seen it. You do this long enough, you've seen crazy things. But futures right now are at highs. SPY's at 573, so maybe we trade here 572 to 574 after the open, and a constructive day for some of the names, especially the ones I'm in, because I'm in call position. So it's gonna be hopefully it's gonna be a fun day here. Also, small cap. You look at the small cap futures are up nearly 1.7%, whereas the S&P is only up 0.88%. So it's pretty strong possibility the small caps outperform today, which would be again a great sign. All right, so now individual names, and I held the rest of my win strikes into today. Well, my weeklies, I still have the October monthlies, the 115s. If it got all the way down to 98 at the open yesterday with the market selling off, and then just went on this slow, meticulous melt up. Went red to green in the afternoon, and then broke back over 102, then 103, closed pretty much right at the highs. Here it is at 104 in the pre-market. I think it trades over 105. I'll be pretty quick probably to close most or some more or all of my 105s at the open, just because who knows if we do get some kind of pull. And then I'll just continue to hold the October 115s. If it has strength over 105, I might look for some more strikes to play for a move to upside. Again, I keep saying I think WYNN is more of a less volatile, under the radar play on China. And if you look at the watch list, did I post in the watch list this morning? Someone had a nice thread. I don't know if it was from Bloomberg, a reporter in China talking about how this Golden Week holiday for China is playing out. And it seems like the China government or the media, whoever it is, the I hate to use the word propaganda, but it seems like they're really pushing this stimulus package, and people are, they said overnight are searching for homes and stuff, like, because I guess there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of liquidity put in. So overnight, well, Sunday night will be the kind of the barometer of how Asian market's going to be for the following week, with China not open for the last 3 days. Is it going to be a gap up 5%? Is it going to be a gap down 5%? It's going to be a big move. So the Hang Seng was up over 2% overnight. So I think that bodes well, considering it was 2% the overnight. It was 3% on Wednesday night and only 1% yesterday. So probably bodes well. Either way, love WYNN for upside. I put up a longer term chart here. You start looking at support resistance, that 105 handle. And then once it's 105, I think 109 was the highs from this year. And then you start pulling back, and 115 was the highs in 2022. So you're talking multi-year highs. And again, Macau is a huge driver of revenues, margins, profits, and everything for WYNN. So if this is the start of the China consumer really starting to feel, hey, I can spend some money, or the cusp of it, market's going to start pricing that in well before the stock starts pricing it in. So not stock, but the results, right? Market's a forward-looking mechanism. So it's not going to price in people buying today or yesterday. It's pricing in what are they going to do in the future. All right. So that's WYNN. AMD, I put on a watch list yesterday morning. They have their event next week, a week from yesterday, excuse me, their AI event. I don't know. Again, I have to look. I don't know if it's 1 p.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll have to go look at that. But either way, I think AMD is set to move at least over 170 and then probably ramp up next week into the event. Got the calls. I think it was 161.80 or so when I got my calls, and all of a sudden, boom, broke right to 162. It was almost 163 in a matter of a minute. Ran all the way up to nearly 167 about 10 o'clock. Locked my calls in for double or some of them to cover costs, and then I just held the rest. And AMD is right at its levels it was at the highs yesterday, which is a good sign right now. Maybe it trades up 170 today would be great. I'll just continue to hold the strikes unless they become a triple or a quadruple today. If it gets to 170, I'll lock some more in, just ride the rest into next week. I put on a watch list. I was going to use like 161 or 160 as a stop. Doesn't look like we'll get there today, pending a crazy reversal. But really like AMD into next week, into their event. And not only that, you look at the chart and the 50-day moving averages at 160. What do I have? Why do I have this all messed up here? Not the 60, the upper Bollinger Band. Why am I looking? Anyway, all right, rants. I'll talk about AMD. All right, so SE, not going to talk too much about SE. Is looking good, 96.50. It hit 98 early in the week, so hopefully it breaks through that. If it breaks 98 today, I might look for some more strikes. I was possibly looking November, I think it's November 1st strikes. So I still have my a couple of my October hundreds left. I'll hold those, and then I might look for some November strikes. Biogen, disappointing. Yesterday, UBS came out and just cut their price target to 202 on Biogen. They have a neutral rating. I mean, the stock was at 189. I don't see why they have a need to. You have a neutral rated stock, and you're still $10, $15 above the price target. And then this morning, UBS kept RBC cut their price target on Biogen, but it was from 290 down to 269. Maybe that's the kick it needs finally to get going. If it breaks over 190, I'll look for some November strikes. I'm being patient here. It's like one of those days, and usually it happens when my options expire. The next day, the stock will go bonkers. But I think it's just a matter of time before there's some catalyst that kicks Biogen to the upside. Redfin, I'm a broken record, higher highs, higher lows. Broke under $11 yesterday, found a nice support, and then almost reversed red to green. Looking strong here in the pre-market. That 10 handle, that's kind of like the line in the sand. That's the 50-day moving average, 1004. It holds that. We'll love to see that, hold there. If there is weakness, doesn't look like it's trading 1155 here this morning. Dell, in tandem with AMD, the semis looked great yesterday. I was looking to get a position in Dell. Dell does its typical gap run fade. And then it found a bid at the end of the day, closed at 115. Now it's up here at 117 or so. It certainly looks like it's going over 120. I don't know if it's going to be today. Similar, they have an event with NVIDIA next week. It's just a conference on AI for telecom. I don't know if that's really going to be a catalyst for the stock. But if AMD rallies and the rest of the space rallies, Dell's going to rally in tandem. So don't be surprised if I add some strikes there. Like I was saying before, China markets, Asia markets going to open up Sunday night. China's either going to be up or down 5%. If China's up 5%, depending on where Baidu closes today, it'll be up another 3, 4, 5%. So it's almost like a binary trade. I don't know if I'll add any depending on the premiums for next week calls, but don't be surprised if I add some lottos on Baidu into next week. But what a monster trade this week. And then last but not least is Roku. Roku got another price target upgrade yesterday afternoon. Macri, I don't even know how you pronounce it, $90 price target. I was going back and they've had 8 analyst opt-ins since the start of September, either price target upgrades or rating upgrades or both. So pretty remarkable. And then considering where Roku's been since the start of September, it was $65. So you're telling me 8 analysts upgraded the stock, either the price target or the rating or both, and the stock is only up $10. And I say only up $10 because Roku is one of those names that has a positive news and it can run 10 bucks in a day. So I'm still kind of surprised it's gapping here in the pre-market. Another name similar to Dell. It seems like every time it has a gap, it might fade. So I'll probably wait till 10:30, see how it holds up. If it gains hold, I might look for some inexpensive either spec calls today for some lottos for move to 80 bucks or into next week. And I think that's it, folks. We got 20 minutes to the close. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.